वॉलेट देखो
प्राणाय स्वाहा अपानाय स्वाहा व्यानाय स्वाहा उदानाय स्वाहा समानाय स्वाहा. Good morning one and all. Right from our birth we are taught everything, right from walking and talking and what not, but we are not taught how to breathe properly. It is because we breathe that we live, that we are living, and we take it for granted that oh, it is going on, it is an instrument and it goes on and on. But it is very important to know how to breathe correctly and scientifically. We have with us on our campus today a retired professor of surgery, a practicing vascular surgeon, a very senior surgeon who worked for 30 years as a vascular surgeon, and after retirement he has taken up a task of teaching everyone how to breathe efficiently and properly. Dr. Kalind Bakshi, we welcome you, sir. MBA program, postgraduate MBA department of Sardar Patel University. We have with us the director of MBA program, Professor P.K. Yes, I will not take much of your time. I request the head of the MBA department to welcome our guest with a bouquet of flowers. Please. Professor, please be offer a bouquet of flowers to respected Dr. Kinnari Bakshi. Professor Joshi to welcome Mr. Joshi. And I request sir to please welcome Mr. Shah from United States, who is a poet. Friends, we have with us a medical doctor who studied at Mumbai and in UK and settled in United States since more than 30-40 years, I believe. And he himself is also a poet. He writes in 4 different languages, and he is a coach of breathing. He has established Breath Lab. So I request him to teach us all what is the effective way of breathing. Please.
and all the wonderful faculty that we have here. It's just a tremendous honor for me to get to this. Reminds me of 5-6 years ago. I was in KLE Institute of Management in Canada. And so it's like coming home to me. It's a very interesting topic, and I'll get right into it. What Vivaben said was very correct, and that is, we take breathing for granted. It's only when you have trouble that you say, oh, I cannot breathe. I have wheezing. My nose is blocked. Oh my goodness. I have throat congestion. Until that time, we don't know. Until that time, it is automatic. We are possessing a phenomenal, fantastic instrument, never ever invented, and I don't believe it will ever be invented for body. Good Lord has given us something that is so efficient that it manages many things very well under all circumstances. So, I'm going to do what Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. So I'm going to have one particular practice that we will all do together. I'll step on the side. I don't need a microphone for that. I hope I can speak loud enough. And here it goes.
You wanted to.
No, I'm okay. Can you hear me then? Yes. I'll be okay. So I will just stand. You can do it all sitting. And this I'll leave this practice with you. So the practice is a final practice that many times it can be a beginning practice or a final practice for you. But what I'm going to demonstrate, one is to take a deep breath as big as we can do with our arms raising up. And when we exhale, we'll chant Om. And 25%, and 50%. Just a formula, you can put anything you want. We'll chant this 3 times. Make sure we take a big breath. Even look up. And then come down with your voice. Come down. You have just recognized what proper breathing does. The proper breathing technique, along with the vibration that is created by the chanting, really sets the whole body and the mind and the spirit in the actual zone of not only healing, but empowering the body, making sure that it does function well. But in addition, it gets the energy level proper. We hear so many times, I'm tired, I cannot do certain things, so what do I do? Well, just do the Om chanting. It's a very beautiful technique. We can develop more and more on this. But what I like to do is I like to go through a little bit of understanding about how our system works. And this happened to me basically because I saw many patients who needed a lot of help. And we were able to use some of the techniques like this in order to promote healing. The doctors have never healed patients. It has never happened that way, even though they may say so. For me, I'm a surgeon, I cut and sew and then I pray. I hope somebody else really heals the wound. Okay? And it didn't happen for me all these years. I always wondered about that. Then we recognize how our brain works. And quickly going through the brain, there are 3 levels. The top level is the thinking level, middle level is the emotional, and the lower level is the survival level, or the breathing instruments and breathing centers are all located there. I'm not going to name all that, it's not a big issue. But the 5 that we have, I'm just going to mention this, that the middle level, most of our senses are located here. Out of 5 senses, eyes, smell, ear, and taste. Touch is everywhere, of course. But so we receive everything from the world, and everything is stored here, or we respond to it or react to it. And then if there is a problem, like the flight or fright, some situation is there that one cannot cope up, or the body feels, oh my goodness, we are in trouble. I must do something. A situation where survival is an important thing. At that point, the message goes from this area down to the lower level. And the lower level is where the heart and the lungs centers are located. So immediately there, it says, okay, let's pump hard, let's get some circulation. So heart gets faster, the breath gets faster, and that's great, because that immediately starts, the whole survival methods. Also, blood sugar goes up. We need more sugar in emergency situation. So the sugar goes up. Various hormones, they start going up. Particularly, we call the adrenaline goes up, corticosteroids go up, and the growth hormone goes up. I'm mentioning the growth hormone for a reason. Growth hormone also goes up. This is in response through one of the cables called the sympathetic nervous system. It's a cable system. After all, the whole body is a message system, okay? And so the message goes to every organ in the body. Hey, do something. And so that's what the first responders are. However, that has led to a lot more of things efficiently, some of them, and some of them not efficiently, or not effectively, as the word uses effective here. I would like to say efficient. The efficiency part, particularly if that situation continues. And now, by the way, this is an outside stimulus. But supposing we were sick, let's say we have cough, cold, or fever, or something happened, viral infection. Now we have a trouble from inside. So microcosmic and macrocosmic, both types of responding we do. Now what has happened is, the heart is faster. You know very well that if heart continues to move faster and faster, it's not necessarily good for the heart, because the heart does not get as much circulation itself if it's too fast. Same thing happens to the rest of the body. And so you cannot survive beyond a certain time if that system is up. So now it has to switch over to a more relaxed situation. Now, I'm going to go through a little bit of recognition of what happens when you switch over to another system, which is called parasympathetic system, or it is a system of peace. system of calmness. Once the emergency is over, then we calm down. We slow down. The heart rate slow down. Now, let's do one breathing. Inhale. Let's get all the hands up. Inhale. And exhale. What happens is when we inhale, deep inhalation, every area of the body starts working faster. The heart is a little bit faster. Lungs is more oxygen at that point. Everything is a little bit more. The sympathetic arm of the inhalation. This arm inhalation is the sympathetic arm that I was mentioning. The exhalation coming down, this is the curve like that. The exhalation part is the parasympathetic. So therefore, in all yogas, in every breathing technique, you will notice that they will tell you, exhale slowly, longer. Why? Because that is what leads to relaxation and calmness. You all experienced that already. Just this little simple practice. And so, having said that, I'll give you one more example of how we respond, particularly with the mind is fast. If the mind is concerned and anxious, exam is coming up, or some relationship issues going on, what is happening, I mean, we have a response to everything. At that point, the mind is fast. How fast is mind? If I say the word Mars, you're already at Mars. So that's fast is the mind. How fast is the breath? Slower, right? So the technique that we talk about is to slow it down, is to have the mind rest on the breath. So that's one of the techniques. Now, I'm just mentioning some of the techniques. I'm going to practice some of them. But I want to go through some of the important aspects of breathing at first. I just wanted to explain the role play of the two systems here and why we want to really go towards a peaceful system as much as you can. Because the doctors, they do the medications, give you medications, and during sickness, surgery, I cut and sutured up a wound or whatever, I did that. After that, what do we say? Oh, go home and rest. Put person to rest. They are not responsible for healing. The responsible for healing is our own body. And the body does it by switching from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic. That's just a simple concept that I wanted you to recognize. And most of you already know this. Now, effective breathing versus not effective breathing. I want us to travel back in time when we were all in our mother's womb. If you can do that. When the first embryo is formed in the uterus, in the womb, there is no air. The 2 cells or 3 cells or 4 cells or 8 or whatever the number of cells, they are attached to the wall of the uterus. Where is the oxygen? Not much. And whatever is oxygen is there is actually less. We have studied number of levels of oxygen. I'll mention that coming on a little later. But when we start growing the baby, the heart about 3 to 4 months, until that time they're not even circulation. So where is the oxygen? It comes from just attached diffusion. As we know, lots of capillaries, small blood vessels, and a lot of circulation. And only one layer of cells which connects to the actual target area. And so that's basically how we get oxygen. Come fast forward a little bit, the entire development of our human body happened at the level of oxygen. You are all familiar with this now because of the pandemic. You are all familiar with 95, 94, 93. If I say just one word, you will say 93? Oh. get them to the hospital. I'm just giving an example. It's just one word, but how we start responding to it now. Guess what? We all grew up at around 80, at around 80 to 82, 88. That was the oxygen tension in the belly, in the cord, within the womb. Isn't that something? We didn't require that much of oxygen. And this is important, just one word I'll tell you, the stem cells, people have talked about the stem cells, how they differentiate, and now people do all the transplantation so that I'm going to form a liver today, I'm going to form a muscle, whatever it is, they all survive at a very low oxygen level. If you put little extra oxygen, they all die. That's how we grew up, at a low oxygen. And then the baby comes out. Lungs are not there, lungs are filled with fluid, actually. Lungs aren't working. And during contraction, labor, some of the lung gets, fluid gets pumped out. And when it goes out, baby is coming out. At that time, the oxygen level really goes down. But the carbon dioxide level starts going up. And when the baby comes out, that's what stimulates baby's brain to start breathing. I'm just referring this because there are a number of concepts that come here together. And when the cord is clamped, even that circulation is gone. Umbilical cord will be clamped and baby is separated from the mother. That goes even further. And then the doctor lifts the baby up upside down and slap. Everybody had this, okay? Most of us had this experience. You don't remember it, but that we had it. We all went through this. And then the first thing, cry. First of all, that extra lung fluid that comes out, number one. And number two, that slap or whatever the stimulation is there, that tells the thing, hey, you are in a different environment. We never got slapped inside the mother's womb. All of a sudden, there's a shock. And because of this shock, the baby says, first and then cry. I didn't do it properly. You may do it differently. But the cry is important. So that starts giving the muscles exercise. Crying is good. I have a crying club, not only laughing club. Yeah, we get together and we cry. And then we laugh because we were not wondering why we were crying. When we cry again because we were not sure why we were laughing. All this is important. Okay? The reason why I'm mentioning all this is because we were doing that and we survived and we grew and we regenerated tissues. We actually created new tissues. This is the regeneration medicine. We are applying this fast forward all the way to becoming an adult and how we heal and how we grow some new stuff, etc. I'm just laying down the concept here. Now I'm going to just stop talking and we'll do some exercise and we'll pick up the topic again. Breathing. Oh, my nose is congested. Now, how do we correct the simple stuff that happens? First time we have problem with breathing, we say, well, my nose is congested. All of a sudden, I have sinus problem. Common? Yes, very common, right? And also, we do all the pranayama and everything else. But the thing about it is, we have two gateways of getting air into it. One is the mouth, second is the nose. All areas that are exposed to the air, like the skin, lungs, and the intestines, or the whole gastrointestinal tract, these absorb air. Surprised? It's something interesting. But the lungs are specialized. They absorb the most. And therefore, in fact, we have 200 to 300 million alveoli, or the air sacs. And if you take the surface area, skin is about 1 square centimeter. 1 square meter, sorry, not that, 1 square meter. And intestine, for example, intestine. You think that it's from here to down there, a lot more longer, correct? It's about 45 to 50 square meters. How about the lung? 90 to 100 square meters. That much area is exposed to lung, and we know that we get into trouble because we are exposed to the world. We get everything in. We eat something that we should, okay? Or we touch something we shouldn't, and we breathe something we should not. Now here is where we miss it. We know the skincare is beautiful, avoid the sun, etc. We do all the skincare. Bowel care, yes. We say eat this, don't eat this. How about the one? We don't. We don't think about it. And yet, that's the biggest area that's exposed, right? And the gateway is here. There are other gateways. I'm going to tell you, I'm in a comparative animal study. And there's one animal, you'll be surprised, leads to the rectum. Turtles. Turtles have a little extra pouch. When they go in, they trap the air, and they have to breathe. So it's kind of fun stuff to think about this. Anyway, gateway. I'm going to switch to the gateway part. There are 2 nostrils. And let's check. Everyone checks. Inhale and exhale, and check which nostril is better open, one or the other. Check one after the other. Inhale and exhale. Most often, how many of you recognize that one is more open than the other? Wow. This is called nasal cycle. It's the most consistent cycle established by the brain. The center is right here. And this is normal to have one more than the other. About 2.5 to 3 hours during a cycle in the day. And why? Because the nature is smarter than us. What nature says is that we cannot dry out both the nostrils. And so one side you can dry because when you're inhaling you can dry out. So that's why the switching is happening normally. Now let me ask you a question. If you're doing any breathing exercise, yoga, pranayama, anulom vilom, whatever, doesn't matter what you name it, you're breathing. Any breathing exercise. Would you like to have both nostrils open or one? Both, because then you have more air to work with. It will be better, right? More air to work with. And yet, I haven't yet seen many people teaching this particular thing except my trainer in oxygen advantage. He taught me the technique and here it is. What you want to do is, I'll just show you once and then we'll practice just a short one. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and after exhalation, gently pinch your nose and hold your breath. And then keep holding, go up and down, sideways. Keep holding, you must breathe, right? You have to breathe. Let's do it. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Hold your breath, pinch your nose and hold your breath. Keep holding, you can your head sideways, backwards, all that. Keep holding. Keep holding, till you have to breathe. And then you have to breathe, open up. Now take a deep breath. Check again. See if it makes any difference. Yes? Is it making any difference? Yeah. If it didn't, you can repeat this a couple of times. What does that do? This creates a particular gas everybody is not familiar with. It's called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is created, and By the way, we have pharmacology within our own body. We don't have to go to drugstore. This particular technique we have been able to use for sinus situations, for people who have blocked noses, deviated nasal septum, nasal surgery, all that kind of stuff. And yet it's been very effective. So it's a very small technique. You do this, you feel much better. You don't need any nose mask. I've used this during COVID extensively. How people, the nitric oxide is antibacterial, antiviral, and also it opens up airways, bronchodilation, and also blood vessels open up. So it's a wonderful drug which you can manufacture yourself. It's also manufactured within the lung, but about 20 times more in this sinus area. So having opened that up, I want you to do something else. I want you to just inhale and exhale with your face just like this. Okay? Inhale and exhale. And notice how much air you're getting in. Once or twice. Now smile. Smile, keep smiling and inhale and exhale. You all look good. What happened there? More? Did it become more? Back? Why? That's because this area, this soft part of the nose opened up by these muscles here. You can put your fingers right here, open them outside, just pull it up. Inhale. With the left. Much more air, isn't it? Yeah? These muscles are called Elvis Presley muscles. Elvis Presley used to smile like that. I'm not going to name their anatomical names, long names. Levator, labia, superiorus, electronasa. Try not to repeat it. That's what it is. But these muscles open up. So open up the mouth. Now you have your hands here. Okay. Smile. Now frown. Frown really badly and breathe. Much less, isn't it? Resistance have increased. Now we do a frowning club also, by the way. There is a reason why we do that. I will explain to you later time if we get the opportunity. But what we do is a practice, is you can do that, alternate. Smile, inhale, smile. Exhale and frown. Inhale, smile. Exhale, frown. What are you doing? It sounds a little funny, but it is very helpful. Because what happens in an exhale, when you do not allow the air to come out, it has more resistance. It generates more nitric oxide. It has more chances of oxygen exchange in the lung. It becomes longer. Simple. Okay. We move on from this to the sinus. The sinuses are nothing but our face is like a butterfly. Butterfly's head over here, like this, and the wings. The wings are like the sinuses here. And there's another pair of wings. You see there are two front and the back butterfly usually have those. There are some sinuses here. So it's like a butterfly nose. So what you want to do is you want to take your hands here, and best way to do this, I've done a lot of techniques, but I'm going to show you the best. If you are the best one. Palm here. This palm. This here. This palm. So what you want to do is you put this palm here on the cheeks. And then massage that as firmly as you can. Inhale and exhale. massaging on the side here and up. On the forehead. And then on the side here. This massage produces more nitric oxide. It opens up the air gateway. Effective breathing. You're not taking enough air, more air will create better breathing. This you can do every morning, every afternoon, evening, every time you think about it. Very simple. So you open up the airway is the top part. I already want to go a little bit home. We'll talk about the humming part and chanting a little bit later. But the upper part I'll take care of here. Now, the other thing you can do quickly is massage your gum. Top massage, gum, and bottom massage. This does not avoid you from brushing your teeth. But it gives you a good amount of circulation. And all the organs, just like some of you may know about the organs, like acupuncture, they are represented well in the ear, the hand, the feet. Same way it's represented right here. We are doing a whole body massage right there. And it improves, and by doing this, also the sinus inflammation. So we have had so many people with sinusitis and problem with upper airway improve through this simple technique. Very simple. Anybody can do it. For a child, you can do it for a child. If somebody is not willing to do this, hold them and do it for them. But idea being on this is that upper airway is important. So we open that up. Now comes the next effective technique I want to go through. This nose to belly breath. He will hold it.
He will hold it. He will hold it for you.
Oh, okay. Not enough? Alright, so now when we put one hand on the chest, one on the belly. Hold the chest here, do not let the chest move. You take a breath, let the belly come out as you inhale, like a balloon. Then push the hand belly back and exhale. Exhale through the nose, preferably. Inhale again. Exhale. Directly from the nose to the belly. Nose to belly breath. Now, now what is happening is we have, when we were born, I was telling you about that, the chest was not developed. And if you see a baby laying down, the baby will breathe mostly through the belly. And the diaphragm is moving up and down. The diaphragm is a forgotten muscle. If you have, anybody knows exercise for the diaphragm? Anybody know massage for the diaphragm? Not much, right? We do all the biceps and the triceps and all the other stuff, but we do not do the diaphragm. Now the diaphragm muscle is very helpful, and that is, it goes down. Like for example, you have a dome-like thing, you know. So I'm just going to show you this. As I inhale, it's like a tent which pulls down the muscle. And the tent portion, the ropes of the tent are attached to the ribs inside or the back in the spine. And when that happens, the chest expands and the air gets pulled in. And it's the most effective way of breathing. Now, we were talking about when somebody is very upset or anxious or has a fever. And when the lower portion is trying to recover or say, oh, there is a lot of problem going on, you know. Do something. So it recruits every area of the body and then the person starts breathing. You know this very well, but all the chest will move, the upper neck will move. You see somebody labored breathing, okay? You will see all that breathing. It's necessary because at that point, as many people you can recruit is good. If you have a big morcha going on, and there's a lot of people demonstrating, police is there only few policemen are there. So they cannot hang, do anything. But they call some volunteers, good volunteers. Oh, let's pull the rope here and make sure that they don't come and attack wherever they're going to attack. The volunteers are not that effective. The police is. But still for that purpose, at that time, they are okay. They are not efficient, but that's okay. That's exactly what happens in the breathing. So the body brings it in, but it's not good. And when that happens, we recommend very simply to switch to belly breath. And the belly breath breathing, because of that, in our breath clinic, we show how it becomes during certain things. But the belly breath, as soon as it is switched, it becomes very efficient. So belly breath is a very efficient breathing. Why? There's another reason why. The upper part of the lung here, when you're sitting or standing, has less circulation than the base of the lung. Because it's gravity, And when the belly breath happens, a lot more of exchange happens down here. So it's efficient. If at that point I'm going to send a lot of blood to the upper portion, a lot of air to the upper portion is not effective. Management question, right? I just think that body is an excellent management. We know, I teach one particular corollary where it's called breath economy and home economy. It's a comparative thing. There's an entire portion on teaching that. But it's a very excellent thinking by the brain. All right, so let's do the nose to belly breath. But before we do that, just I want to show you. We do the belly breath, and just make sure that the belly is moving a lot more. Just that much. Okay. So inhale. Exhale. Continue doing that till I'm showing you something. Continue doing that. This is a little toy. I do this mostly on Zoom, so it's good for Zoom, but I guess it's okay in this audience too. This is a chest here, you can see, and this is a trachea, okay? And this is the belly here. So when I blow the air here, yeah, that's what the belly breath looks like. You follow? That's what the belly has to go up like a balloon. Now, just imagine, chest is a bony cavity, it's bony, a lot of ribs and everything. Will it be harder for the bone cage to go up rather than the muscle, the belly and the diaphragm? Correct? It will be harder. So the work of breathing on the chest will be a lot more. And that's what it's not efficient as much. So when you switch to two things, nose, open both versus, and also the second step is the belly breath to make it efficient and more effective. The third part is, I want to mention that sort of older people say that, well, what about mouth? We mentioned the gateway, mouth breathing. Mouth breathing is very ineffective. Part of the reason is because the nose function is what? To warm up the air, to filter the air, to clean up all the bacteria and everything, because that's all is there, the nitric oxide is produced. So three or four things happen there. And when you inhale through the mouth, all the three things are missing. So in fact, more and more people start developing throat infections if you have a habit of mouth breathing. Throat infections, children have tonsillitis, adenoids, all these things happen because of mouth breathing. And so one of the things to correct, if you're not, you check yourself and see if your nose is clogged, you open that up and keep the mouth closed and see if you can, and notice yourself, okay, during the day, see what happens. One of the other things that happens with the nose and mouth breathing is when the child is growing up, they have deformity of face because of the mouth breathers. Even the dentition, the dental plates, they don't grow very well and they have more dental problems. There's a lot more issues with mouth breathers as you grow up. Next one is mouth breathers, like for example during sleep. I snored, I used to snore, and I still snore. Because snoring and sleep apnea, you may have heard of sleep apnea, that's all related to the mouth breathing. Quite a lot of it is mouth breathing. And mouth breathing is inefficient. Again, I told you how it's inefficient. Because of that, I wake up tired. I wake up or wake up dry mouth because I've been breathing. I lose a lot more water because and that's another thing that happens to the mouth breathers. And so what did I do? I put a tape on my mouth. I tape my mouth before I go to sleep. I've done that. My wife can vouch for that. And when I do that, my snoring is not there. She doesn't wake up. More importantly, I get a deeper sleep, a better sleep. So again, fixing some of the areas, effective breathing can address so many issues. Even the brain, working with the brain. During the night, our brain really gets rewired, flushed out, everything. All that is happen during the sleep. And all that will not be happening if you're breathing through the mouth. You would see one area of mouth breathing is allowed, at least not allowed, but I think it's okay, is when you're running a marathon or you're doing a lot more exercise. At that point, particularly opening the mouth during exhalation. You see a dog running, right? Because it's not because of the tongue is out and everything. Why? Because there's a lot more fluid to be removed. There's a lot more fluid created due to that running and all that, and that has to be removed. We do that through perspiration and sweat, but it's not enough. And so you get rid of it by breathing through the mouth. Also, heat, temperature. Body temperature rises, you have to cool down. That's why the Sitali breath, some of you have heard about the Sitali breath and all this. These are yogic breath that have a fantastic scientific background. I also have a Tai Chi and Yoga comparative study about that. And it's amazing how much of this belongs to it. So, we talked about 3 points. Opening up the airways, sinuses, the nose to belly breath, and switch to abdominal breath. So these 3 points are extremely important as a take-home message if you really want to switch to effective breathing. And one of the things that I often say is, when do I do this? I'm a doctor, but I cannot prescribe this. This is something that we do all the time. So the 4th point, and I'm going to leave you with this. This is the last point I'm going to leave you with this, because too much of eating is bad. Too much of learning too quickly is bad. Now you have to go back and practice. This is what I would like everyone in the world to practice. When you practice it by yourself, please make sure that you make a journal for yourself. This is something that our breath clinic, everyone does that, and make sure that you put it down. And somebody's journal will be different. You can compare notes, but you will have different experiences because we are all different individuals, you see, with different set of problems. Did it work in you? Well, I didn't work like, and then as soon as we hear that, okay, but can we correct that somehow, change it? And so we can do that. And so practicing. And one more thing I will say, that the last point was awareness. Breath awareness is here to stay. Thank you very much, Corona. Corona has woken up everybody. But can we keep awake? And how we keep awake? By doing some of the practices that we just shared a little bit. And how often? When you get up in the morning, first thing you want to do is not try and look at your schedule or WhatsApp or whatever that is. I do that too, unfortunately. I have to work around my habit too. And change that habit to first check my nostril, see if it's open, and open that up. I do a little bit of massage. I feel better. Oh my God. Face, good morning. I say to that, and all of a sudden it starts getting a little bit better. I splash some cold water, that helps to go to parasympathetic. There's some other techniques, but for opening up morning time. I call that remembering breath. Anytime there's a commercial that you don't like, breathe. Or the actual show, watching the television, whatever is happening. So remember the breath. While driving, while doing cooking, all that. Humming, last one. And we'll end that with the humming. And in the humming again, we will do the Om again. We'll do Om. This time you focus on, when you do the Om, you clench your teeth. Okay? The last part you clench your teeth and see how the vibrations are going. The vibrations themselves have a very healing property. These vibrations, the Om, they are the same vibrations as the earth vibrations. 7 hertz. Same exact. And so it calms all the brain waves down to the same level. And it becomes extremely effective. So we'll do 3 times Om. After the 3rd Om is done, keep absolutely silent. Close your eyes in silence. And at that point, you check yourself, how you feel. Self-check. How does the body feel? How does everything feels? That's all, okay? So we'll start then. Namaste. Namaste brings the entire sides of the brain together. They are connected now. The right and the left brain by Namaste. Match the 2 hands. Sometimes they don't match uneven, but try it. And then bow down to yourself. You did a good job.
Sir, I wanted one question. Like lungs produce oxygen. Does belly also produce oxygen?
The oxygen is actually from outside. Okay? It comes in. They don't produce it. The oxygen comes from the atmosphere. It's just the mechanics of breathing, how we handle the oxygen. You know, how we handle it. When oxygen comes, we want to absorb it through the lungs, you see, to get into the tissues, so that the tissues survive. And it's just much like the air for a given agni. You know, Bharelo Agni. Have you heard of Bharelo Agni? Okay. It's like when your fire is going on, the metabolism, fire. In order for the metabolism to work, body tissues to work, we need oxygen. And the belly part is just the mechanics of it. The exchange happens only in the lungs. That's the question. Okay. The exchange happens only this here, but the effective exchange is done by this technique. Sorry about that.
When we yawn, so it is said that it is the lack of oxygen also because of which it happens. And majority students have that habit of yawning in class, which is really irritating also. How to stop it? Can we do something so that they don't
It's an excellent question, actually. This is one of the messages. You know, we ignore body messages. Like, for example, I see an ice cream cake in front of me. I forget whether it's hunger or not. I just eat it. Hungry was my message, or not lack of hunger. My message. Same way, thirst. These are body messages. Body is extremely smart. Giving messages. Yawning is a message. Yawning is a message. In fact, we use yawning to slow the heart rate. Heart rate. We have the pulse oximeter. You know, we do our in a particular breath lab training, and we do that. We do that. One of the things is yawning. Second is swallowing. These things actually indicate parasympathetic activity or vagus nerve activity. And the vagus nerve activity means the person is calming down. Too much for the situation you're describing. Okay? So when you see 2 or 3 yawns, I do that many times, and I don't know, I didn't see too many yawns. Did anybody yawn? No, I don't think anybody yawned. But when one sees yawning, it means need for stimulation. Sympathetic system has to be stimulated. Many times I have people stand up and go, up and down or move around or something, and the yawning will go away. But yawning does indicate parasympathetic system and calming down. And what's the brain? The brain loses focus. The focus and attention. Focus, concentration, and attention. The 3 levels. Focus is like focusing one side. Concentration is concentrate more. And attention is how long can you focus. Dhana, dhyan, and then samadhi. So it's that level, the 3 different levels of the mind. And what happens now is, the focus is lost because, you have to relax. It's a relaxation response. Yawning is a relaxation response. So you could do the opposite, whatever the opposite means in your case or anybody's case, and you do that. Or otherwise, ask the person to go to sleep. Good question, I like it.
friends, it's wonderful time management by Dr. Khalid Bakshi. At the outset, let me thank Professor Vipa Vaishnav, who has been instrumental in getting such a nice person over here and talking to us from the experience, and not only from the experience, from the bottom of the heart, how to keep yourself very active. Sir, this is a management program, and we teach, the students like many P's we are teaching in marketing, even in business we teach triple P bottom lines. So we were just discussing in the class 3 bottom lines. One is obviously profit, and second one is people, and third one is planet. So these are the 3 P's we have learned. So one P is people, but macro, CSR, etc. we are focusing on. Like, we have Al Gore, you were vice president for so many years. Twice he was vice president of America under Bill Clinton. So he was also a proponent of, how to have this world green and all. Madam is behind greening of our campus, and we have got platinum award in green because of Vipa Vaishnav. Sir, I would like to add the P. I am splitting the P now, people and macro P and micro P. That is our physical well-beings. And this exercise very handy. We can do at home anytime, every time. That is its word. Anytime, every time you can have this. So do this exercise. It is going to expand your structure, body inside, and this would be adding oxygen to your brain, and that would help you to solve all your difficult management problems. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.